You're watching the Buy to Let show, and we've been looking at the role of finance and insurance in Buy to Let. Joining me now is Rupert Swetman from Which Mortgage Advisors, Christina Dimitrov from Direct Line, and Tim Bishop from Bonallack and Bishop Solicitors. Hi, everybody. So, my first question, very much to yourself, Rupert and Christina. If I'm an investor, how do I go about choosing the right broker and indeed choosing the right insurance company? Rupert, perhaps you can kick us off.
Yeah, sure. I think it's very important you find a broker that can look at all the products across the whole market. There are a lot of products available, and some of those aren't available to the customer directly. So a broker will have expert knowledge on what might be the best solution for them. It's also important that you find out how that broker is remunerated, because you want to find the right product for the investor, not for the commission for the broker.
Good point. And Christina, from your side of things, there's so many insurance companies out there, there's so many offerings. What do I do as a landlord? What should I be looking for?
So, Kate, I think it's essential to, before you start looking for insurance, be clear about one thing. This is an investment for you. Your property is not just your personal home. So what you need to do is you need to protect your investment, and you need to protect something that's possibly your income, right? Maybe your only income. So what you need to do is you need to be aware that landlord insurance and home insurance are two very different things. They cover different risks. And one way of understanding that is you've got tenants, but these tenants are effectively paying customers.
So like a business?
A bit like a business, exactly. And because it's a business, these people that are paying you something, they have different demands, but they're also a bit of a different risk. So I'll give you an example. We've got, of course, buildings and contents cover. So far, so good. Home and landlord insurance are quite similar. They cover the structure, they cover anything you might have inside the property and provide to the tenant. But beyond that, landlord insurance, for example, provides you with public liability cover. So if an accident happens in your property, you're responsible for that accident, and there may be a claim against you, public liability would cover you. That's not included in home insurance.
Okay, so that's like trips, slips and falls, that kind of thing?
Trips, falls, or some sort of leak that makes damage to a sort of neighbouring property. Okay. But also, you think about rental income again. It may be that your tenant can't pay the rent temporarily or permanently. So a good landlord insurer may provide you a cover to secure your rental income, and they might even pay for an eviction process that may be inevitable in some cases.
It's going to be very costly.
It could be very costly, it could be very stressful. So really, if you want to protect your investment, your time, so you can dedicate yourself fully to other things, and your income, I think you really need to have a good look at all the elements that your insurer provides.
Okay, that's really helpful. And Tim, you deal on the legal side, so you're dealing with the buy-to-let investor on the one hand, and then lenders, insurance companies. What, from your perspective, should investors think about when choosing a broker and an insurance company?
Well, I think one of the things, particularly with insurance, is speed. And certainly that's one thing the buy-to-let landlord can do to help themselves, is actually making sure they get the insurance policy sorted at an early stage and with the solicitor before exchange. Otherwise the process is slow enough as it is, and that can be very frustrating. And so getting that simple step done, that can help. And with regard to brokers, I think it's very important to get the whole of the market. But in particular, we'd always suggest going to a specialist broker, because there are many brokers out there who will deal largely with Mr. and Mrs. Jones buying their ideal home. They won't have quite the same interests as someone who's looking to buy as an investment. So therefore, I'd always suggest that when picking a broker, you find someone who really understands the buy-to-let market.
Okay, and works in it on a sort of day-to-day basis.
Absolutely.
As opposed to a one-off. And how often do you feel people should review their mortgage or insurance? Christina, perhaps you can help us with that.
So if in the UK market, most insurance contracts are for about a year, and so you should review them at least once a year when you're looking to renew or maybe switch insurer. But the other thing you mustn't forget as a landlord is your circumstances might change. Cool. And when your circumstances change, your risk changes as well. So what you need to do is, when something like that happens, and I'll give you an example of that, you may have new tenants. Now, your previous tenants may have been full-time employees. Your new tenants are students, and they're occupying individual rooms on your property.
Oh, I see.
It's a very different risk. So the insurer needs to be informed about this. Or you carry out some essential maintenance works to your home that possibly change the structure, the quality of your home. Again, you might want to let your insurer know about this, and it can even be to your advantage. It may even lower your premium in some cases. But the one thing we always remind customers about, if your property is unoccupied for more than 30 days, essentially most insurers will have additional restrictions, additional conditions and rules and demands. So it's quite important to let them know about this so they can let you know what it is that you need to make sure, just in case you have a claim.
Yeah. So every time something changes, just clock in your head, should I let my insurance company know?
Exactly. Even if it feels very small to you, maybe just give them a ring, you know, they will help you. It can't really hurt you at all to do that.
Okay, well, cover you better, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. And from a broker's side, I mean, what do people tend to do and what should they be doing?
Well, I think one of the advantages of using a broker is that they should get back in touch with you if you're coming to the end of a fixed term, for example, and you would hope to do that 4 months prior to it. But I think you should always review it. And again, if there's a change of circumstances, speak to your broker to discuss what you might do moving forward and when you might be able to change what you do.
So I guess if you started off full employment and you've now made your money and you're self-employed effectively, that's a time when you've got to let everybody know.
Exactly.
Okay. And question to everybody, Tim, we'll start with you. What do you think landlords tend to cut corners on that they shouldn't?
I think they usually start off okay because they get the assured tenancy right, but then after that, sometimes they can cut corners by trying to do notices themselves. So, for example, if people are in arrears or there's a question of forfeiture, they try to do the whole process themselves, and actually it's not quite as simple as it looks. And if you get it wrong, you have to start from the beginning again, and that can really prove very, very expensive. So I think it's well worth taking some initial legal advice just to make sure you're going in the right direction.
Okay, that's helpful. Christina, what's your thoughts?
One big thing for us is careful tenant referencing. A lot of people think it's just, going quickly for a checklist. But the one thing you have to bear in mind is it's really more than that. You need to do a bit more in-depth research, get to know your tenants better. What that means is, for example, credit history, a credit check that shows you, are these people solvent? Will they be able to pay their rent in the long term? Get even a reference from the previous landlord. Was that a positive experience? Because we understand landlords are keen to get the tenants in quickly, to start, getting the rental income. But really, like Rupert said before, don't cut corners, wait a little longer and then your income will start flowing and it will be a better long-term experience.
Okay, that's really helpful. And Rupert, your thoughts?
I think it goes back to reviewing your mortgage. When you come to the end of a fixed period, the lender will give you an option in most cases just to do a product switch. That might be the easiest option, but it might not be the best. So review what you can do.
Right, okay. And because I think lenders review their mortgages very regularly, something like every 3 months.
And they'll definitely come back to you with some options coming close to the end of your fixed period. But like I say, it might not be the best, and the market will have changed in that period of time. So review it, and if it is the right thing, you'll be told to do that. Okay, that's fantastic. Well, thanks ever so much. It's really, really helpful. So that's it for now from the Buy to Let show. Thanks to my guests, and don't forget you can see all of our programmes online to find out everything you need to know about Buy to Let. Join me next time. Bye for now. Here on the Buy to Let show, we aim to bring you all the information you need to run a successful buy to let. You can find more advice and help by following these links. And you can download our special ebook, which goes with the programme.